Bill, you're live.
All right, we good? Yep. All right, we alive, everybody. Welcome to December. It is 6:34 on December 1st, and I want to call to order a public hearing for the property of 19 Old Cart Road. So I think we need to do a roll call on this. Start with you, sir.
Ben Galuza, here.
Bill Wilson here. We have Bill Olson online.
Bill Olson here.
Okay, and missing is Rosemary, sending her our best wishes, and Tom Myers will join us in about an hour, I believe. So let's get started. So as I said, this is a public hearing we're holding at the request of the neighbors for the property at 19 Old Cart Road. Thank you to Joe and team to give the select board the timeline and all the events that have took place leading up to tonight's hearing. So I thought tonight is an opportunity to kind of speak publicly about the events that took place. I think we have a number of parties involved. We have our Director of Health, our building commissioners here in the room with us. Joe's here, who's been involved. I believe we have an attorney for the estate here as well, and any other parties, and a lot of neighbors. This is really an opportunity for an open mic, if you will. There's no time limit. I'll just preface on...
Except we have to be done in 30 minutes.
Yeah. For public comment, I mean, as you know, typically we allow 3 minutes or so for public comment, but this is a hearing. But we do have a cap, as Joe said, of 30 minutes for this meeting. We have another meeting starting promptly at 7. So with that said, is there a recap, Joe, or somebody on the team would like to kind of walk us through the timeline and where we're at today? My understanding a lot's happened in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I think we can let Rich get it started. As you noted, the attorney for the homeowner, or the property owner, is here.
Okay.
And we have members of the neighborhood, so.
Okay, great.
Do we want to go back to the beginning?
I don't know, I think in March or so, or was it August? I think March, it first came to our attention from a neighbor. Maybe start there with
I
it.
printed some copies. I had a timeline up through, we met with one of the neighbors back in midsummer, and I put a timeline together up to midsummer, pretty much.
I think we have that from Joe, thank you.
Yep.
Do you have a copy over there?
I do in the packet.
It actually
I think,
started many
emails.
years ago. I first started in Hamilton in 2001. The neighbors contacted me about the property. There was an unregistered car and a little trash outside. And the owner was living in California. He had cancer. So we contacted him. He got rid of the unregistered car and kept it reasonably. He had the lawn cut. And he had passed away a year ago.
Okay.
And the neighbors found out before us, and thank you. And the son, who hadn't really taken ownership of the property, wasn't going to pay the landscaper to cut the lawn. So that started us. We were notified in March. We went out there, took some pictures. I knew at that time it wasn't going to be an easy situation. We got town council involved immediately. Took Joe to the property. Town council steered us toward the Attorney General's office. They have a abandoned property division. There was another property in town on Beach Street we're working on also. Kind of the same situation where the owner had passed away and it was in probate. And so anyway, the Attorney General was very interested in both properties, and they started their process. And I think, as anybody knows, nothing happens quickly with the state. And that kind of get dragged out. And in the meantime, the son got back involved, and we are working, well, we're waiting for the courts to clear this out of probate. And I have met with a builder 3 or 4 times. I understand there's a purchase and sale agreement once the property gets out of probate. And we have a builder that's going to take that property and use the existing structure, gut it out, and refurbish it, and he is ready to go. The courts release the property. That's where we stand. We've been fining the property every working day. We're still sending out zoning tickets on that. Ipswich District Court contacted me today. They are appealing the tickets. So we'll see where that goes once we get a magistrate hearing. That's going to be scheduled soon. And that's where we are as far as I am up to date.
So you said the son's involved now, so is he considered the owner, or is it still in probate and the son isn't,
The
Spending to
son's,
upkeep the
the
property?
son's attorney is here, he can answer that better. They do give us weekly updates, which we appreciate. I was told there was a P&S, and we are just waiting for the courts to act.
Okay. And you said you've been there, done inspections, brought Joe there. Is there anything that's dangerous or a risk of fall or liability?
Well, it's not an occupied house, so all the utilities are shut off. It definitely needs some loving, that's for sure. Would I say it's imminent to the public health? I would say no, it's set back from the street. Anybody on that property would be trespassing. It definitely, the chimney needs some work, that's probably the worst part. The roof, probably gonna remove the roof, I'm guessing it doesn't look that good, but with nobody living in the house, it's,
So structurally, nothing imminent, as you said. What about just cosmetically and an eyesore?
it's funny, the worst facade of the house is the one that faces the street. The back is probably the best looking facade, unfortunately, so. But I believe the end is near. It's been a long road for the neighbors, I understand that. Again, I started in 2001, and they've been dealing with this for a long time, so.
2021, I think, right?
I'm sorry, yeah,
The unregistered
2021.
vehicle.
I haven't been here that long.
It feels that way, right?
Some days.
Did you have any questions for?
You mentioned that you've been fining the property daily. Did the fines kind of start and stop and then restart to the daily, or when was that?
Well, the first set of violations, nobody's ever accepted. We sent them out to California, they got rejected. We sent them to the mortgage company. Nobody's ever signed for them. They went out certified mail, so.
Okay.
We met the attorney, we kind of had a gentleman's agreement, and then we started rewriting the fines.
As of when? That's what I'm at.
August, I'm beginning of November.
Beginning of November, we
So
restarted.
we've written about $9,300 in fines
Okay.
currently. So the most recent ones, starting the beginning of November, have been appealed. There's a 21-day appeal period,
Okay.
so they have, protecting their rights, they have filed an appeal for those
All right.
tickets starting in November.
Okay. Thanks.
Peter Morandi, our health director, is here as well, if you have any questions for him. He was the one that was in contact with the Attorney General's office.
Yeah, can you just briefly update us about that conversation with the Attorney General and where that stands, and are there next steps for them as well, or are we waiting on the sale of the probate and then the sale of the property?
Sure. I spoke with the AG, Janet Fahey is the assistant AG, and I spoke with her on the 21st. That was 10 days ago. And, originally she was coming on board. They have a neighborhood renewal program, and this property was going to go that direction. So she was helping us out with that, but after I summarized the potential resolution that's being proposed, I pressed her on whether she could assist Hamilton Health further, and she clearly stated that her office would keep the case open in case we needed to revert to an active role. And so that's been the role of the AG since we got her on board. I got them on board, that is, and it's about a catalyst. Nothing was happening, but once, people start seeing court materials formulating, it really motivated folks to get going here. She was pleased that we were making progress, that is, but remained concerned. And, frankly, she stated that this can be more easily done when less parties are involved. I insisted that this was the Hamilton way. Elected boards and neighborhoods that want to speak up, and I've worked for local health for a number of years, and I think it's the right way to go, and it's the way we are headed. So hopefully we'll stay on track. I think we have a resolution in the works, and I just hope it can be resolved.
Did the AG comment on the fines? And my understanding, there's a request to dismiss them, correct? Did they comment on fines and dismissal and how we should proceed to continue fining and such? Or was that not part of your discussion?
No, that wasn't part of the health's discussions. That came out of the building inspector's office, and AG made it clear that she's here as a partner, a full partner with local health.
Okay.
And that's the way they operate on these cases. And fortunately, we have a good team here in Hamilton. Rich and I go back a few years before Hamilton, and we've been working together, and I think it's working out successfully so far.
All right, great. No, it absolutely is. Mr. Olson, did you have any questions or comments or anything we may have missed?
No, I mean, I think that's a good update. I mean, I guess obviously this is coming from the abutters who obviously have concerns. I'd like to hear from them about, what, I think we've had every organization go as far as they can currently go until it gets out of probate, with the goal that it gets sold to a builder who will turn it into a property with an asset value and sell it. But I just want to hear from the abutters to make sure that we're addressing their concerns and see if they have any other suggestions how we can motivate this to continue moving forward so they don't have to deal with this on a daily basis.
Okay, great. I don't know if it makes more sense to move to the abutters or Mr. Henney, if there's anything you'd like to add up front, or, just be in the wings for comment or any updates that we might have missed.
Thank you. I believe I should be a respondent tonight.
Okay.
Based on the way the meeting's been, posture of the meeting, so if we can let the neighbors go, then I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, appreciate
I have
it.
a lot of answers for you. but-
All right, I bet.
Sounds good.
All right, why don't we open the floor to any abutters or anyone on the line or here that wants to provide feedback, and as Bill said, any comments on the process so far, or anything they want to add to the condition of the property or concerns.
Good evening, Scott Mattern, 12 Old Cart Road. I would completely contradict the town's position that things have gone smoothly so far. It absolutely has not. There's half a decade of formal record and another half going back of complaints about the property. So then nothing, I would not say that it's going smoothly at all. The town has a bylaw that we're supposed to enact promptly. It requires fines. The property was assessed. It was found to be in violation of our town's dilapidated, unsafe property bylaw. Fines started a little, stopped. They started again. So nothing has been smooth about that at all. The Board of Health had a meeting. They said they really didn't have anything to do with this. Told us to maybe talk to the building inspector, really lack of any enforcement capability at all. However, they did get AG advice, which is to obtain a receiver, which the purpose of a receiver, well, so in terms of going smoothly, we decided not to accept that advice. We don't know why, didn't accept the advice, don't exactly know why the starts and stops have happened. The communication with neighbors has been extremely poor, so we don't get significant updates about what's happening. So a town position that things are going really smoothly, I think, is not supported at all by the facts. Administrators have jobs, they only work 10 hours a week. It's hard to cover a lot of things that are going on, I understand, but we have a bylaw that requires enforcement. So I think the select board was uninformed of what was happening, didn't know fines had started, stopped, restarted, what the amounts were, in amounts that are like hugely impactful to you and the town's revenue. You've got water meter issues on the front page of the paper. I remember being a select person, and we were very careful about, few hundred dollars of water abatements. And this is thousands of dollars, and many more thousands of dollars of missed revenue that is due per these fines. So I think it's taken an inordinate amount of effort by residents, and in particular myself. Fortunately, I helped assist with the writing of this bylaw, actually, because of some other properties in town, so I happen to know it a bit. But I think an average normal resident doesn't know how this works. and they don't get good communication, and there's not outbound reach to the neighbors to explain what's happening for significant events. So, so no, it's not gone smoothly. And I think that the town oftentimes creates a policy for behavior. There's one thing to have a bylaw, then it's like, okay, well, how do we make sure that happens? How do you get informed that fines are happening if they're significant or not? How do you know if things are being done timely? How do you know if you've gotten advice from the Attorney General and the town has decided not to accept that? What is the basis for all these things? And the follow-up required more promptly for this particular hearing. So in the end, I think what's happening is the fines they start working. There's an absent owner. That's the purpose of this bylaw. The purpose of the bylaw is to address it through fines. And I don't think that the town position should be, it should cave on those fines as soon as there's a purchase and sale that arrives. The town decided not to accept the free services of a receiver from the state. We have our own costs, hours and hours of documentation, the building commissioner, the Board of Health, Joe's time, I don't know who else, the lawyer costs. Why forgive fines when we have cost? It doesn't make any sense to me. So, and the point is the fines were created to, in the end, it forces a sale in a transaction. So yes, there's a rumor of a purchase and sale. That's nice. There's other legal procedures that are happening, but that's not the concern of our bylaw in our town. What we put into law in our bylaw was to insist on fines and follow a proper process for remediation. And in this case, we decided not to accept the state's advice to the Attorney General for this free receiver who would essentially do all the things that the town is doing today, act like a property manager. So even though you can say it looks bad only from the front, there's holes in the property. You can see them from other angles where animals come and go. I personally witnessed before the water got shut off, water just pouring out the front of the house. The door entrance is barely covered up. Last official report we had, there were open windows. So those are opportunities for kids to penetrate it, anything to happen. So I think we're not interested in, from a neighbor standpoint, at least that I understand, of having the place boarded up and until this final thing happens, because now suddenly it feels like we're getting close. Well, maybe we are, and maybe we're not. But in no way would I say you should ever take the pedal off the metal on this and not continue the fines, nor consider abating them, at least until the town fully recovers all of its costs related to what we've incurred. So I have heard from one of our neighbors, and I share a lot of this information. I'm the only person here. I don't know if one of our neighbors, Phil, wants to speak or not. His daughter has personally written essays in school about what it's like to grow up her whole life next to an abandoned house. So I think you should not accept the town position that this has gone smoothly. And I think you should establish a policy, which I'm happy to help write, or some key conditions to say, wait a minute, something like this comes up, how do we handle it better next time? So that the next neighbor doesn't have to wait for 10 years for some resolution. So I saw on your agenda there's a potential decision. I ask that you not decide to abate any fines. I don't think you have any information that allows you to make that decision. You have any accounting of what your own costs are versus what the fines have been. So I appreciate you having this hearing. It's mandated by the bylaw, and that you should instruct the town manager to continue assessing the fines, and when the purchase and sale is concluded, then possibly negotiate a fair settlement where we get the town's costs covered.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, a couple things. Appreciate that timeline and history. I was unaware of the decades of such, but going forward, I think is what, I want to impact. And I don't know that this board, I know I've missed the last couple of meetings due to work travel, but has talked about abating any fines, correct? Or that is clearly, personally speaking, not my position. In fact, I would make sure that we have fined everything and anything we should have fined, to date. I don't know, I know there's been mail returned and such, but for the record, that should be, accrued up to the fined amount, whether it's 9,300 or double that, but that should be a number that, once, the property is sold and from proceeds of the sale, potentially there's a discussion at that point. But we don't want to take that off the table at this point, at least personally. That's nothing I would want to do. That's something we need to do. So as far as how we can impact going forward, is there any other neighbor first that would care to speak? Sure.
I'd just be mindful of time, Bill.
Yeah. Go ahead, sir. Name and address.
Phil Budaleri, 26 Old Cart Road. I want to apologize. This isn't a written, it's more of an emotional instead of a logic statement. But my understanding was the fines began before the summer. So we should be far beyond $9,000 in fines. This should be significantly more. Not that I want to see anybody lose their inheritance or profit or whatever to a fine, but I don't want to see this thing fall by the wayside out of its priority and just have this person go, it's out of sight. I don't care.
Right.
The house is a dump. The roof, I'm not a carpenter, so I won't pretend to think I know what I'm talking about, but I'm certainly very handy and informed. I would think this house is a tear down. And there are, like Scott said, there's holes in the place. The doors are unlocked. Last I knew, I don't go and investigate the house. It's not my place. But the fact that it's open, and we have 10 kids in the neighborhood under the age of 14 that, and just going back to when you were a kid, that's prime explore zone,
Right.
party zone, whatever zone. That's a horror show waiting to happen. Never mind whatever mouse got feces is throughout the house, and it's a sickness waiting for these kids too. But and Scott, as far as I know, Scott's been on top of this for like 10 years, working with the owner of the house, telling him to keep up on the lawn, take care of the place, stop making our properties look like
All right.
trash. And it really does. I mean, this house is the eyesore of the neighborhood by all means. In any other neighborhood near it, it's painful. And the wood's rotting on the front of it. The structure on the side of the garage has a huge crack going up, although I don't think it's structural, but it is the stonework
Right.
on the garage. The fence fallen down and has a section missing out of it.
So I think I have a good picture of the, the length of and duration you guys have put up with the property, the absentness of the owner when they were deceased, and then it went into probate, and then now it sounds like, the son didn't really come in and take care of the property because it was in probate, for whatever reason he had to. But I think what I'd like to do with the next couple of minutes, if that's okay, is I want to understand the path ahead. And Mr. Henney, I don't know if there's something you might add on to, a timeline or even a likelihood of a resolution to probate and the likelihood of a sale on the property, right thereafter, if that's okay with the few minutes we have. Unless
Absolutely.
there's another point.
I do want to add on, thanks for all the effort that everyone has put in on this. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming out. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name's Bill Heaney. I'm an attorney from Beverly. I actually live here in town. I typically avoid town issues because I want to avoid confrontation in my own town. When Matthew Lavin called me in early September of this year, I looked into a little bit. I met with Rich. I met with Peter. Did not foresee the anger that's coming from the neighbors that's pushing this forward. So it's caught me a little bit off guard. I'm a little bit shocked and embarrassed, frankly, but I'm here to answer your questions, and I think that maybe we should go back a little bit and fill in some of the blanks, and I'd be happy to address most of what Mr. Mattern said to you. because it's perfectly fine in this world to have different opinions. It is not, we all have our own opinions, but the facts are the facts, and we don't have our own facts. So if Mr. Mattern wants to stand up here in front of you and tell you that he was a part of drafting this bylaw and that you have to fine people, that's factually incorrect. If you read the bylaw, you're going to see it says may fine. So it's a lot of these little things like that that are going to raise the animosity on this issue that we don't need. But I do want to take some time to kind of address his concerns and correct some of those factual incorrections that he represented to you. So what I did bring for you tonight is some pictures that are from September of this year of the property. These are taken from the street on my first view. This was early September when I first went to the property. Just two pictures from the street, so you can see what the neighbors are seeing. And I do get what the neighbors are saying. I have a similar property in my neighborhood that's been in duress for over a decade, and we've watched it. It's now being rehabbed by a builder. So it's not for lack of sensitivity. There's just a certain amount of time that goes into these. So essentially what you do have is you have a decade of neglect at this property. Nobody's disagreeing with you. But what you're doing is you're punishing the son. This wasn't his house. This wasn't his problem. Daniel Lavin died in May of 2024. He was living in Pasadena, California. He owned property in New Mexico. Matthew, the son, lives in Oregon. Opened up a probate in New Mexico, got an attorney there, got that probate through. That was where Mr. Lavin was domiciled, so that's the primary probate. He's never had to do a probate before. This is all new to him. September 6th was the first time he got a notice. So that's a date that I think is important, because your fines and your penalties are punishing a young man who got his first notice on September 6th. That was a certified letter from the building inspector, Rich Maloney. If you want to look at the timeline, immediately following that, he had my office hired by September 10th, or contacted us by September 10th, and I was meeting with Peter and Rich, I believe it was September 15th or 16th. I met with them, I explained to them I lived in town, really wasn't looking for anything that was going to be confrontational, but I thought that I could offer some services that would be mutually beneficial for both the town and for Mr. Lavin. And when we left that meeting, felt pretty good about it. The building inspector agreed to stop the fining, so there had been some fines issued up to that point. He agreed to stay those. Peter Morandi put us on the next Board of Health meeting. So we went to the Board of Health meeting in October. Again, I was shocked by the anger that came in with the neighbors and their very unrealistic opinion that this should be turned over to the AG's office because the AG is going to work for free and somehow this property is going to be put into receivership. You know, there's a little thing called due process. I know our constitutional rights are eroding daily in this country, but due process and property rights, I don't think any court is going to be able to take any property any quicker than we can sell it through the open market. So the Board of Health listened. It was an hour-long meeting. They heard both sides of it, and I think at the end of it, they understood that my client, Matthew Lavin's, just trying to clean up his dad's property and move on. So at that time, the Board of Health continued the matter generally, so there was no fines from the Board of Health. I agreed to reach out to the AG's office to get a timeline for them, because I did represent to them that I thought a court action would take a lot longer than our plan.
Okay.
We have a very viable plan that's coming together if we can get the town to just let us get through it. And I'll get to that. I reached out to Janice Faraday, I think it's Faraday, from the AG's office. No return phone call from her. Peter did share a letter from her to the town, which was for draft purposes only, that kind of laid out a little bit of the process, and I was hoping to get a little bit more of that process from her, but I didn't get it. But what I can tell you is the AG wants to get involved with abandoned properties when there's nobody on the other side, when there's nobody responding, properties that are truly abandoned. This property is not truly abandoned. My client's been paying the property taxes. We are in the process of opening up the Massachusetts probate, so he has legal authority to sell the property.
How long will that take, the mass
So
piece?
so this is where we're at with that. So we had to wait for certified copies from New Mexico. We got those about 2 weeks ago. My office has drafted up all the probate documents. They've been sent out. They're in final form. They've been sent to Mr. Lavin out in Oregon. He is reviewing them. I expect to have them back this week. We hope to have their probate filed this week. Now, this particular issue is a little more complicated than the usual probate, because we have land that's registered land. So because it's registered land, we have to do a formal probate, and we're gonna have to get a license to sell. The process that I believe that we're in for, as soon as we file with Mr. Lavin, or when we get his signature back and we file, we're looking at about 45 days before he's appointed the personal representative. Once he's a personal representative, we can then apply for our license to sell. Once we have the license to sell, we can then take it down to Boston to the land court for them to review the deed. Every property that's registered land that's sold out of a probate has to be reviewed by the land court. So that will take a little bit of time. So I believe the best case scenario is a 45 to 60 day period. Realistically, probably looking at a 90-day turnaround time on this.
And you have an owner that is, and you've negotiated a
Yeah,
price?
so on the purchase and sale, so one of my points tonight is, whatever the town is issuing for penalties, it's not gonna make this move any faster. It serves zero purpose. I can understand when the town wants to issue fines, when people are thumbing their nose at you or not paying attention. My client got a certified letter on September 6th. I was meeting with the Board of Health and the building inspector on September 15th. He is voluntarily complying. I'm not even so sure he's not in compliance with the order, but we're working on it. But the fines aren't helping. So we do have a purchase and sale that's signed with a local builder. It is signed by my client as an individual and as, you know, the potential PR for the property. He's the sole heir. So we believe we have a binding contract. One of the issues in that contract is we have a limited asset with limited equity. These fines are mounting pretty fast. As you've already heard tonight, they're $10,000. At some point, this property could be out of equity. It could be a short sale, if you will, or negative net worth. And if we don't get these fines waived, we're going to be heading in that direction. So our purchase and sale does contemplate that, and the purchase and sale is contingent upon the town waiving the fines. So the town can be a part of the solution here, or it can be a part of the problem. We're asking the town to be a part of the problem. If tonight's not the night, we will ask you to waive the fines. I've been listening, I've heard you. If you don't feel it's appropriate now, we can come back at the appropriate time and make that request. And the fines are also under appeal right now, pursuant to the citation that we received. We had 21 days to file in Ipswich District Court, which we did. So the fines might go away with the magistrate at that hearing.
Sorry, do you mind if I?
Yeah, we're just gonna wrap up. We'll give it like 3 minutes.
Last question then. Are there any other contingencies in the sale?
No.
That's the only one?
Permitting. Their local contractors are going to fix it up. It is contingent on them receiving their permits.
Okay. Is the permitting through the building commissioner or through ZBA?
Through the building commissioner. They're not asking for any relief.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I appreciate that update. I do think at this point, we're not going to have a vote or make any decisions on fines or otherwise. I would like to kind of get an itemization of what has been fined and what truly is a fine to motivate and move along a potential seller, and what is a fine to recover any services. Water was mentioned, property taxes were said were paid. I want to know if there's any like true liability to the town that is part of any of that, or is it all fines to motivate and move along? But there are probably costs on our behalf that we have to cover, so it would be good to look at that. I get it does sound like we have a more viable, faster approach through your process. I would, if you could send Joe or whoever you're communicating with weekly, kind of recap that for us so we can kind of anchor in on that. I know it's not set in stone, but I'd like to understand and follow through the process and see when it moves from Arizona or New Mexico to Massachusetts, and just see if we're moving along within milestones that we could look at to potentially get to that point where we can talk about, you know, fines and the contingencies and what stays or doesn't.
I'd be happy to, Mr. Chairman. And just, you know, we were asked to provide a weekly update, and we do so. My client we are, on behalf of my client, we're working with the town to solve this issue. We're not trying to be problematic here. We're just having to deal with it as it comes through us from the town. I think we're on a really good path on our end, and if the town can just let us get to the end result, and I said it to the neighbors at the Board of Health meeting, if you let us sell it and get this thing sold quickly, you're going to have a better property there a lot quicker than any other options that you have, and a lot cheaper. And that's, you know, 100% genuine when I say that.
Okay. I appreciate that. That's a good update.
Can I just do one last quick?
Sure.
So in terms of an accounting of our costs, costs for any services, whether it was water or otherwise, if there's soft costs involved in terms of people's time going out there, tracking all this stuff down, I think should be part of the accounting. And then lastly, if there's any imminent safety issues some of the neighbors have been pointing out around potentially putting up some signage, or who the neighbors can call if they see any activity there that shouldn't be going on, or if they're concerned about children's safety, things of that nature. Just making sure that, people are, if they lock the doors, do whatever you need to do to make sure that people aren't getting in there who shouldn't be. Neighbors know who to contact if there is a problem. I think those safety concerns do need to be addressed.
Sure. So I have been to the property. It is secured.
Okay.
There was one window that was open to the garage. The garage, you could not access the house from the garage. That was locked.
Yep.
So the one window that was open when I first met the building inspector in September, that has been secured shut now.
Okay.
So that's not a concern. If you want a sign put up on the property, it might attract more attention.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a sign put up on the property, I'm happy to
Or then
check in with the
communicate
building
with the
inspector.
neighbors, get them some information so they know who to call, whether it's handing out, flyers to those folks, just take some initiative there to make people feel comfortable would be greatly appreciated, whatever you can do.
Yeah, we'd be happy to do whatever people think is best. I'm not so sure about putting up a sign, but
Yeah,
Smart, I think, find the right avenue.
but we'll stay on this, and if you just, let's stay open, dialogue, and communicate, and we'll work through Scott and the neighbors and make sure we're moving judiciously. We can affect what's going forward. I can't, what the last decade, but it sounds like we have a viable working solution. It's just how we can compress the time to get it done.
thank you.
Appreciate it, thanks. Okay. Yeah, one more thing. I'm running late. I'm always accused of running late in meetings, so
I'll check this system.
I think I was set up.
So again, Phil, 26 Old Cart Road. I do appreciate the effort. I wouldn't want to see any signs just to make the property look even sketchier.
Okay.
However, I do want to call attention to one thing you said which just rubbed me the wrong way, is his father died in May of 2024. That's a year and a half to be sitting on $100,000 maximum from this property, I would think, just for the shape it's in. I find the credibility of him, his effort to get rid of the property weak. If you had $100,000 sitting there and waiting for you, you would have done something. He's sole heir.
But
He knows
I thought it's in probate, though. It's not his son's property yet if it's in probate.
Yeah, it really is. He's not.
So that's the issue.
True, but he would have
Could've
known
stepped up
about
probably. I
this.
get it, but I'm gonna have to stop us there. If you,
Yeah.
it'd be great to come down too. If you want to chat with him, you're more than welcome to. But so can I get a motion to close this hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Let's second.
Bill seconded it. The roll call.
Ben Galuza, aye.
Bill Wilson, aye.
Bill Olson, aye.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, Bill. Don't know if you'll be leaving us at this point or not, but appreciate your feedback during that. Now I'll take a motion.
He can't leave because then we won't have a
Oh,
quorum.
yeah, sorry.
Bill can't leave. If anybody
Tom
else that
gets
wants to
here.
can leave, but we have a, Peter Morandi is also free to go.
Okay. All righty, we have some esteemed guests I see in the front row, so I don't know, in conjunction or in concert with the HDC or the Development Corp., I think we want to recognize the Conley family for all they've done for this community. Madam, you want to lead us off, please?
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Scott Mattern. I have the pleasure of presenting the Customer Service Excellence and Community Service Award to the Conleys. These fine people represent 3/4 of a century of outstanding customer service and community involvement. Mr. Conley started as a fountain engineer, a nickel for a soda. A bottle of aspirin was a dime. It still might have been when they recently closed. He took over from his father, Henry, in 1973. Mrs. Conley started the card shop in the 70s, too. My dear friend Chris started running the pharmacy in 1999. But more importantly, who doesn't remember being greeted by a kind smile and the most courteous service? Who hasn't received deeply personal attention or even a home delivery on weekends? What sports program hasn't knocked on their door for a contribution or to help stocking their first aid kits? Who hasn't entered our beautiful town and been greeted by the warm glow of their neon sign? Our community will miss all of that and so much more as you move on to the next phase in your wonderful and rewarding lives. Conley's Pharmacy will endure in our hearts and minds, reminding us of the kind of people and neighbors we all should be. Thank you for 3 generations of service and contributions to our community. On behalf of the Hamilton Development Corporation and the Hamilton Select Board, with the greatest of honor and pride in our community that these fine people helped us build, I present this award to the Conleys, and it reads, Customer Service Excellence and Community Service Award, Conley's Pharmacy, 1946 to 2025. Henry, 1946, Mr. Conley's father. George, himself, in 1973. Christopher, 1999. Personalized care, dedication, one pill at a time. Signed by Bill Olson, Chairman of the Hamilton Select Board, and Rick Mitchell, President of Hamilton Development Corporation.
You guys want to post together? Sure. Want to get a picture? Sure. Scott, Matt, Scott. Want to pose for a photo with these guys? Oh, yeah. Take a quick photo for the newspaper.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna take one more. 3, 2, 1.
Chris, the wood is
The offensive line.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving right along. I know, I get it. I get it. Do you want to take things out of order and go to the select board hearing on the cable license? Because this was supposed to be at 7 too, and we're late, so if you want to come back to the stuff afterwards. Yeah, just let people know.
Just gonna call to order, right?
Yeah, call the order. Yeah, Bill August here from,
I don't need to do a roll call to call to order, right?
I don't think so, no. We know who's here, so.
Is that rude?
You gonna jog tomorrow? Every day you're on your walk. We didn't go to the game and went tailgating.
We gotta get better at this.
How you doing? See ya.
And I think National Grid's here too, so you might have to do both these and then go back.
All right, we're gonna keep things moving over here if people don't mind. Hey, how are you?
Are you in the Thursday?
I hate it. Yeah, 100%.
They have a new location though in Ipswich, I think?
They push people out.
It's a different family.
Oh, okay.
They closed. They'll, part-time.
How are you? Good.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I don't know, do we know what's going on in the property?
I'm assuming they phoned. I don't know. I can ask Chris. Chris probably knows.
This is a good cause. I could do this all night. Yeah, we'll order some pizza.
All right.
All right, I do call to order the Hamilton Select Board meeting at 7:19. And in respect to time, and we have some other guests with us on a couple other hearings, believe it or not. I'm gonna take some things out of order, if that's okay. Why don't we start with the hearing on the Verizon Cable license renewal? I know probably a month or so ago, we had a pretty detailed update from our attorney as well as Bill. So I don't know how deep we have to get into this. My understanding is the contract's been done and finalized, so I don't, if there's something we need to vote on or any more updates.
You have a motion in front of you, and you have a statement to read.
Okay.
Bill August, should we start with Bill reading the statement?
Or the motion, probably.
Start with Bill, can you hear me?
Yes, I would start with the opening statement, just for the record.
Start with the opening statement. Thank you.
Okay, so I need to read a statement for this public hearing on Verizon Cable Television franchise renewal. Good evening and welcome to the Town of Hamilton's public hearing on the Verizon New England, Inc. cable license renewal. By way of background for the public, state law requires the holding of a select board public hearing prior to the final action on a proposed renewal license to allow public comment on town needs and the proposed renewal license. Notice of this hearing was in the local newspaper for 2 successive weeks, and copies of the notices will be entered into the hearing record as hearing exhibits 1 and 2. A copy of the proposed Verizon's license as negotiated with the town is exhibit 3. Based on information and testimony before us and the record of the prior public hearing, the Select Board may take final action and approve or reject the proposed non-exclusive Hamilton Verizon license renewal. Comments from the public and other interested persons should be directed through me, and I will rule whether they are in order. Before getting started with accepting public comments, I would like to recognize and thank Bill Melville and the local programming provider, Hamilton Wenham TV, and John Harrington, Verizon's representative, for their hard work and collaboration through a productive license renewal process. Now we shall proceed to accept comments from the public, if any. Please keep your comments no longer than 4 minutes. I would appreciate it. Any comments? Sir? Do we need to read a motion first?
Yeah, I'd read the motion so that you can.
We'll just read a quick motion.
Sorry about that.
Motion and second.
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion for Hamilton Verizon license renewal and vote by the Hamilton Select Board. Acting in its capacity as the statutory cable television license issuing authority pursuant to MGL 166A, and finding that the cable license renewal proposal of Verizon New England, Inc. reasonably meets the cable-related renewal needs and interests of the public in town, and finding that Verizon's financial and technical qualifications and Verizon's local programming channels, facilities, and services are reasonable to meet town cable license needs, the Hamilton Select Board hereby approves and shall execute the proposed Hamilton Verizon renewal license to be effective June 7th, 2026.
Need a second?
I second that. I second that.
All in favor?
So yeah,
No, you're not going to vote it yet. Now you're going to take
we're gonna do public comment and vote.
All right. All right, public comment, sir.
Good evening, Dan Kowalski, 186 Echo Cove Road. This kind of relates a little bit to a discussion I had with some folks from National Grid. We were talking about telephone poles and double telephone poles, and the folks from National Grid basically said it's real difficult to get Verizon and Comcast to move their lines off a pole that National Grid has abandoned. You know, so that in essence produces double poles in the community. So I'm not sure whether this vehicle is an appropriate opportunity for some contract verbiage that might put a little bit more, give the town a little bit more ability to motivate, you know, in this case, Verizon to get off of a pole that the town's trying to get rid of. So maybe a question more for Attorney August.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Okay, I appreciate that feedback. So let's talk about the language, and can we incorporate that comment in the discussion of the language, and would that language be appropriate in this to kind of help motivate Verizon or others to, you know, move lines off a pole so there's not double pole issues, if I understood that correct?
It's a great question. It's a tough area because the courts have ruled that, unfortunately, that only the Department of Public Utilities has enforcement powers over double polling in the town of Bedford case, where they adopted a bylaw to to adopt some just basic common sense enforcement powers. As you know, the common area with legal doctrine with utility issues is one of, unfortunately, in my opinion, a very expansive state preemption of local enforcement. So all the verbiage could potentially give us is the power to seek enforcement from the DPU, which we already have just under the general operational practices of DPU and under the DPU procedures for municipal complaints to DPU. What I have been told by Verizon and by Comcast on double polling issues, because believe me, this is, by the way, you know, it's a great question. I totally get it and empathize with the speaker. I'm not trying to in any way question the merits of his asking about that. And I've had similar questions from municipal officials in many towns over the years, and I've directly discussed it with Verizon and Comcast in terms of their cable wires and other wires, and facilitating coordinated efforts on that. And what they have emphasized is that because the DPU retains the enforcement powers, the most effective thing a town can do, you can already do, which is request of John Harrington, who I believe is here. John, I see one of the Verizon representative, is to establish a Verizon liaison to work with the town and coordinate those efforts. Because what often happens is there's no ongoing identified double pole liaison unless the town is a squeaky wheel and asks for it and then has an ongoing coordination effort with them, not enforcement powers, but a working relationship. And those towns that have established that have, you know, gotten the most progress on the double pole removal timetables, which, by the way, is subject to a statute that does say they have to act diligently to remove the double polling. So there is some leverage. You have a leg to stand on in terms of the statute, making noises at the DPU and building that relationship. So I don't think we need to add anything to the license. We really just have to build a collaborative working relationship with Verizon. John, I don't know, John, if you are here, could you show a video and comment on that? John Harrington, I don't know.
This is John Harrington representing Verizon. I believe you can hear me?
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you. We have never, or Verizon has never included any double pole language in any of the cable franchises. This is really more of a Title II issue, and as Bill August has already explained, the law sits with the DPU on this issue. So I know it's an important issue. It's come up before, but it's never been addressed in a franchise agreement.
Okay.
I did see one charter license, another company that had some creative language, but all the company would say was that we'll establish a liaison, designate a liaison to work with the town. And I think, John, would you use your good offices, if requested by Hamilton, to identify a human being? You need a human being these days, so you can end up in voicemail hell, to be a liaison if we have double poll questions?
Yeah, again, this really goes more to the Title II telephone company issue as opposed to the franchise manager issue. Bill, I'll give you the franchise manager contact information, and you can give it to Joe and take it from there. But Verizon, the telephone company, also does have community relations people that you can deal with. But I'm happy to give you the franchise service manager, who I don't think is the most appropriate person to deal on a double poll issue.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, we just would like to know that
Yeah,
if...
I think we could, Bill, I think we're right. I think you guys are saying the same thing. Let's stay connected, get a contact so we have it. I do think that's more of a telco Title II than a franchisee agreement, although it's a very important issue. It could give us leverage. I don't think it's properly put into this agreement. I don't know if anybody...
Right. The polls are not part, were predate the cable system. They're part, they are under the Title II original registrations.
So let's kind of just bring it back to the task at hand then on this agreement. Is there anything different from our update that we had a month or so ago relative to...
No, I'll just say for the benefit of the public, we have the maximum permitted by law as the annual franchise fee to support your very valuable 3 local channels. And we're getting we have the option under the license to get a 4th channel, also a very valuable asset, as a high definition PEG channel. So that is some growth. But in terms of the financial package, it's the same as the old, the 5% of the gross. We actually have almost a 5% increase in the capital funding, which is fantastic given the fact that they had a big loss in subscribers, and it's more than Comcast is paying on a per subscriber basis for capital funding. So as discussed in detail only like about 5 weeks ago at the other public hearing to identify needs, we're in good shape. Bill Melville is happy, and he knows the ins and outs and details of the license, and was a resource along with Joe, town manager, who was fantastic. They're very familiar with it. So we're in good shape. No changes since the last discussion.
Okay, so I think we're probably at a point where we've had a discussion on the renewal. We've got a negotiated contract, and we had a point just to vote to adopt it.
Unless there's anybody else that wants to speak.
Yeah, any other public comments? Going off script, I know I read earlier, I definitely want to thank, Bill Melville for all the work he's done, as well as you, Mr. Augusta, in bringing us through this long, involved process.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no comments, the motion was read, it was seconded, there was discussion, all in favor of approving this agreement as outlined, say aye, or do we need a roll call?
We need a roll call vote.
Roll call, starting with you.
Ben Galuza, aye.
Bill Wilson, aye. Mr. Olson?
Bill Olson, aye.
I appreciate that, thanks, Bill. Okay, since we have John on the phone, I'm going to move us out of order one more time, and we'll talk about the National Grid poll hearing for Echo Cove.
And National Grid, that John's with Verizon, so.
Oh, okay,
we got
sorry.
We got National Grid in the audience, and then Tom McEnany's here to do voting stuff too, so you may want to just go into that after National Grid.
Where is that? Which one?
It's a script.
Okay.
You got to assign motion makers.
All right.
You got to approve the change of manager license too. Jesus. You want to get the whole hearing first?
Yes, so do I need to open that up?
Yeah, it was tabled from the last meeting, so you can still just take it off the table and
So
then,
this was voted to continue from your last meeting, which I was not part of, so we'll just retable it and have further discussion. So this is the situation where they want to get a second pole across the street, so we'd have 2 poles, so,
the board had asked for them to look at the design and try and come back with some other alternatives.
okay.
I think Ismail's here, yeah?
Why did I think that was Verizon?
Good evening, Ismail Miku, 44 River Street in Beverly. I'm representing today National Grid for Echo Cove Road. As last time, thank you for having us back. So last time we went back and did some investigation to see to come up with a better solution. So first of all, if you remember, we were looking at a tree guy that we weren't able to find on Google Maps. We went there on November 18th with investigation with my coworkers, and we found out the tree was actually down and someone removed the tree guy, so that's why we don't see it anymore, and we still have it on our system. We just didn't know about it. We weren't notified. So that being said, National Grid doesn't want to keep pole 479, and we don't need to keep it. So the only reason we kept it in this design is our engineer didn't know that the house 186 Echo Cove Road, Mr. Dan, we didn't know that they were going to demo their house and have a new house closer to the road. So we kept 479 to service them. But now that we have this update and we took some measurements, we're thankful to go there, and we found out we can actually remove it and service them from the new pole that we're petitioning to today. The only thing is we will not be able to remove that pole right now with this design. So this design will be done to place the new pole only, and we will keep serving them. The only reason is because they are getting their temporary service from the old pole. If we remove it, the temporary service will be very low, so it's better not to touch it. Once you guys are ready with the new house, you can call us to demo the temp service and do the new service, and we come at the same time to remove the old pole. The only thing, again, I would like to say, first of all, it's not going to be on cost of anyone. It's going to be National Grid costs to remove the pole. And finally, National Grid only removes the half top of the pole. This is our agreement with Verizon and Comcast. We install, they remove. So when our team will be there, they will remove the top, and our cables, they will connect you to the new pole. And we send all the paperwork. The customer or the city doesn't have to do anything. We send all the paperwork and exchange of notice to Verizon in that case, and they are usually very responsive in Hamilton area to come and remove their second half.
Okay, so I knew Verizon had a stake on that pole. So, so just to be clear, so there's a pole going on the other side of the street, and then there'll be one temporarily to provide service until the new house is completed, and then it'll move.
Yeah, so the old one will be the temporary to keep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there any issue with the pole not being at the meeting we had the initial discussion, being on the other side of the street with any neighbors there?
No, none of the neighbors there came.
Okay.
Dan was here, and Dan did speak to Ismail and has evidently worked out a solution.
Okay.
Seems like.
So it sounds like we have a
So does
solution.
the design
We'll have
stay
two
the same
poles.
as-
We have
as-
briefly, you want to say something, or you can?
Sorry.
Yeah, Dan Kowalski, thanks very much to National Grid for accommodating my request. I think it'll work out a lot nicer. I do want to just clarify, I'm just like to clarify or understand, are there other poles that are going to be changed out on Echo Cove Road? I thought you had said 480 was going to be replaced as well.
So we are replacing many poles on the street.
Can you come up to the mic, Ismail? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are replacing 6 old poles, but we're replacing them on their same spot. They're just old, and it's time to update. So we will have 6 new poles. So we're not changing any position, and we're petitioning for 1 new pole. And of course, when you're ready, we will remove the old pole, definitely.
Okay.
Is that the same strategy as cutting off the top half and then Verizon comes and takes the bottom half?
No, for the other ones, what we do is we cut the top. So we install the new pole, We remove the old pole, we put it on the side, we install the new pole, and then we transfer our cables, and then we cut the top and the bottom, and we only keep the wood that has the Comcast or Verizon cables. We stick it to the new pole, and they come back and they do their part. They're also very responsive for it. They already have their exchange of notice. It's already confirmed that they got it. So once we finish our work, they will go and do their part.
So
That's,
the old pole goes away completely except for the,
Middle section.
yes,
wall
I would say
butt that to the new one,
about
then-
2 feet of the old pole will stay hanging, not hanging, but stick to the new
That you'll
pole.
butt it to the-
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I'll just request that maybe you do take the opportunity to identify a liaison to work with these companies, because what I'm hearing is there's going to be like 6 1.25 poles as opposed to double poles, but thanks very much.
Thank you, Dan.
We can also provide the engineering department phone number. I will send it to you by email
No, that'd be
of
great.
Verizon.
That-
Yeah.
Yes, we will send it to you.
That would be
They
great.
are also very responsive. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
But the owner of the house needs to contact you on when they're ready to move the pole. Then you'll come,
Yes.
you'll move the pole except for the piece.
So
and
they will
you'll-
contact us. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You'll contact Verizon. There's no other step for the town or the owner after they tell you we're ready.
No, they just, when you create the new work order, let them know, I want to remove a pole, so they notify us to see and remove it, but we are already aware of it. Just notify it. Yeah.
So, so the request and the pole design is the same as was in here, except that you're going to be taking out the old 479.
Yeah, so 479 will be removed later on. Yes, sir.
So the design that was in the original packet is what you're voting on?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, is there anything, do we have a motion in there, or anything
I
to read?
don't,
or-
is there a motion to read, or? just make a motion?
I'd do a motion again to accept the design and the removal of pole 479.
479, all right. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the current design with the removal of pole 479. Does that cover it, Joe?
Yes.
Covers it for you? Yeah.
Oh, thank you so,
yeah.
thank you very much.
Okay, do I have a second, Mr. Olson? Bill, if you're there, you're on mute. If you can just second the motion on accepting the design.
You may have lost him.
He might have some coverage issues. I know he's mobile.
Sorry, Bill, did you say something?
Yeah, I just need a second on a motion to accept the design for National Grid on the pole replacement.
I second that. Sorry, I thought you heard me.
Oh, no worries. All right, all in favor, roll call.
Ben Galuza, aye.
Bill Wilson, aye. One more time, Bill.
Bill Olson, aye. Bill Olson, aye.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, have a good evening.
Okay, was there
Thank you.
something else you wanted me to move, or should I get
Yeah,
that?
Bill, bear with us, we just want to, we have the change of manager for the Myopia Hunt Club. The whole packet is in the whole packet for the change of manager is in your packets.
Yes.
It's a standard change of manager. The manager that was there is no longer there, a new manager. And in order for us to renew their license at the next meeting, we need to get the manager issue straightened out. So
And we have all proper documentations, any
it
fees
wouldn't be,
related to others?
we wouldn't have moved it to you and put it in your packet if it wasn't already all taken care of.
I already knew the answer to that. So can I get a motion to approve the change of manager for the Myopia Hunt Club?
I'll make a motion to approve the change of manager for the Myopia Hunt Club. Alcohol license.
Second that.
Can I get a second, Mr. Olson?
He just did. He
All
said.
right, I got a second. Roll call. All in favor?
Ben Galuza, aye.
Bill Wilson, aye. Bill Olson,
William Olson, aye.
All right, thank you, sir. So that is passed. All right.
Your next item is the town meeting, assigned motion makers and speakers.
Okay,
Tom
sorry,
McEnany,
we're kind of
Council.
going out of order here, so,
Tom McEnany's here.
all right. So we have the script in our packets. Everything's been finalized. Any further discussion, and we'll assign motion readers.
Sorry, which one are we on? Script?
The script, yep.
Yep. I said, do I have a hard copy?
Should be, yeah, it's in here.
Any comments or discussion on the script while I look for the motions?
The moderator is here as well. I don't know if he has any comments.
Bill, any comments on Run the Show, or?
No, I'm supposed to get,
Looking good.
any presentations on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, we'll get presentations.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll have everything by Wednesday. So the first motion is going to be on, I think we're going to skip, at town meeting, you're going to probably wind up skipping motion 1-1 and 1-2. 1-1 is a motion to hear reports. There are no reports.
Okay.
Motion 1-2 is an article for consent. Since there are only 5 items that the board had previously discussed not having a consent motion, that would bring up Article 2-1, prior year bills.
All right, so we have some prior year bills.
Yeah, a couple, totaling $26,000. They were just bills that came in after we had closed the books for for FY25, so.
All right, anybody want to read that, or do you want me just to assign people?
Usually we've let the FinCom do that. John McGrath's not here. You could,
Do we know if they want to, or is that going to delay us, or?
I would say you could make a motion to assign it to John McGrath or FinCom, or have one of you act as an alternate.
Yeah, why don't we have, as a financial matter, have someone from the FinCom read that, and if they for some reason can't, maybe Ben, you could read that one.
Sure.
Okay.
Be the alternate. Which item
Mr.
first?
Chairman, I believe at the last meeting, John had indicated that he would make that motion.
So let's put John McGrath down there. You can just validate. Thanks, Tom. Article 2.2, community preservation. I'm the liaison to that group, so I'm happy to read that motion, unless there was somebody else that wanted to read that from the... You want to read that, sir? All right. Yes, right, he's in the group too. We get Sean Farrell.
Okay.
Extension of the lease cell tower. So there's been a lot of discussion on that and extending the lease terms. I've been advised that because I'm in the industry, I'll have to abstain from any decisions on that. So I'll look for either Bill or Ben to read that one.
Sure.
So we'll put Ben on that.
That's fine.
Article 3.1, that was.
Yep.
We're on 3.2, authorization to convey an easement for National Grid at 577 Bay Road. Is that...
It could be you or Bill Olson, or you can give it to Tom, because he's not here.
I'll read that. Bill Wilson.
And I think the intent was to have planning board make the motion on the Browns Hill zoning, and then there's a speaking order. That's obviously the biggest article of the evening, the one that created the need for the special town meeting.
So do we know who on the planning board is
I
going to...
believe it's going to be Marnie Crouch.
Okay, and then do you know who the speakers are, or?
Marnie, Emil, and somebody from your board to talk specifically about the development agreement.
Okay. Do we know who's going to do that? Is that Bill Wilson?
Well, so that's something we could talk about. Obviously, Rosie is not physically likely to be able to be there next Tuesday. She's still in rehab and will be for a couple more weeks. I know that she would have wanted to speak to this because she worked on it for so long. I think if the board wants, and I can work out a way to tape a statement from her, we may be able to play a taped statement from her. But I definitely think that the motion should be made by somebody that's at the meeting. And that...
I can do it. I can read Rosie's words. So, but Joe, put me in for that one and we can figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, so in concert with Rosie, however she feels fit, if she can, be there, or a statement of some sort. I do think, she's put a lot of hard work, as has Bill, on that, so I think the combination of the two would be great.
And Rosie, obviously because she's not there physically, state law doesn't allow her to participate and vote, but we are trying to work on some kind of a Zoom link, as long as we can make sure it doesn't mess with the other technology in the room, to allow her to listen and at least feel like she's part of the meeting.
Awesome.
We're working on that now.
So December 9th, 7 p.m. at the Hamilton Wenham Regional High School. Is that in the
It's in the cafeteria this
in
year.
the cafeteria. Any other open items on town meeting? I think a lot of hard work's been done on this. I know of no open issues. Ben, do you, or?
Are we doing public comment after this, or?
Oh, well.
We're gonna go circle back to public, because you had a lot of things where people had to be in and out, and that's why we took everything out of order tonight. Sorry about that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, we're gonna get into that.
We're gonna
That's
have
just-
public comment on that item, I guess is the nice.
Oh, on town meeting?
Yeah.
We can.
We can?
It's,
It's a voting item right now, so we are open to comment. We can,
If there's anybody here, I just
is
want to
there
make
any,
sure, 'cause we
anybody
did receive
here
some
or online?
emails over the past week or so. So if there was
point.
anybody that wanted to speak up.
don't have nobody online, nobody in the room.
Okay.
Good point, though.
No, it's fine.
Keep us on the straight.
Spent a lot of time on that policy.
I know, it was. A lot of hard work on both sides. Do we need to vote on anything for that, or are we assigned folks?
Yeah, I think you're assigned. Tom, anything else that the board needs to do before we let you go?
No, I have nothing further, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, have a good night.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, next item will stay in the agenda is discuss request for Hamilton to seek climate leader status with members of the Hamilton Environmental Impact Committee. I think, Emmett?
All right, thank you. Jean, Jack, you want to come up and give me moral support and answer any questions that I can't answer? Handout here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A few extra copies.
Thanks.
The Climate Impact Committee is an advisory committee to the Select Board to try to help us achieve the objective that town meeting voted to be climate neutral, net zero carbon for the community by 2040. So what we've drafted a letter, which is kind of the cover sheet that I gave you there, which is what we want to suggest that the Select Board get behind this year is making Hamilton a certified climate leader community. And the reason for that is it'll give us another $1 million worth of grant funding. We've maxed out on all the green community funding that's available to us. And so if we reach this next level, there's another at least $1 or $1.1 million worth of grant funding that's available. So that's the why and the whole recommendation here. And just wanted to say that, I guess I wanted to highlight that just for everybody knows that the energy manager that we're working with, Vicky Massoni, is going to be awarded at the State House with a Climate Leader Recognition Award, Individual Recognition Award coming up, and that's on, I have it in my notes here, what is it, on the 12th of December.
That might be December 9th.
December 9th? I thought it was the 12th.
No, December 9th, next Tuesday, the same day as the town meeting.
Town
But it's
meeting, 9th, okay.
it's in the afternoon at the State House.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. But anyhow, so we're working, Vicky is the energy manager for the schools, for the municipal town of Hamilton and the town of Wenham. We're working in collaboration actually with our equivalent board with town of Wenham to work to get them climate leader certified too. They're talking to their select board tomorrow night, and which will be on a Zoom call, and they're having Dylan Patel, who is the DOR person, head of Green Communities for the Northeast, will be presenting to them tomorrow night, and we can bring him here to do the same thing. So if there's any sort of follow-up, but the net of what's involved in the next steps for the town of Hamilton to become Climate Leader certified is actually in your packet. And we're 3 out of 6 steps have already been achieved. Number 1 is to be a green community, which we are. Number 2 is to have a group like the Environmental Impact Committee guiding the town and all of that. So really the next 2 things is creating a, oh, I know what it is, excuse me. The third thing that we've completed is, or in the process of doing, is a municipal decarbonization roadmap, which we've already gotten Vicky linked up with Joe, linked up with Heather Ford on the Capcom committee to kind of put what are all the assets that need to be upgraded over the next 15 years, roughly, to 2040 to achieve the town's objectives.
And does that include the Reed School District, or?
And the school district is part of us, so we're responsible for them between the 2 towns. And so, yes.
Okay.
And they're really, the point of this whole thing is obviously they're going to need a lot of cash, and the town's a lot of taxes to, weatherize the schools and bring them up to speed and all of that kind of thing. So getting the 2 towns would be the equivalent of $2 million towards that project. But the 2 other things that are involved in this is a zero-emission vehicle policy for buying new vehicles for the town, which we're doing that already. Bill Olson, is a good example where we tried to get him a truck last year. It didn't really survive the winter in terms of the usability of it and all. And so the reality is just to put together a procurement process for new vehicles, so long as if there is a zero carbon vehicle available, then we try it. But if it doesn't meet the specifications or the requirements and all that, you don't have to go forward with it. So that's a zero emission vehicle policy. And then really what the last thing here is a specialized stretch code, which is something that would have to be put on a warrant article. We talked about it last March and go through the whole town. But what that really is all new construction for houses that are under 4,000 square feet. They don't have to be electrified, but the pre-wiring has to be put into the walls when it's being built. So it's really just an addition to the current code, and that's the ask here that we'd be looking to the select board to make that commitment to put that forward. So,
real quick before you respond to that, I just want to make a note for folks here and for the meeting recording. Tom Myers joined your meeting at 7:50 p.m. and Bill Olson unfortunately had to leave. He dropped off at 7:54 p.m. So you've maintained a quorum throughout. So
Okay. Welcome,
just barely.
Tom.
All right.
Just barely, but you did maintain a quorum, so.
For the record. All right.
So what is the timetable of accomplishing, the next 2 items? Because they're big items, it feels like. Is there a goal?
the only one that has a real timetable is to get on a warrant and pass the stretch code.
The stretch code, and
Yeah,
that would be on the warrant for April, is that the
That would
consideration?
be on the
Well,
warrant.
that's what they're asking you to do.
Right.
Okay.
The vehicle zero procurement policy of the vehicles is something that Joe can draft up and just sort of have it out there. And it's also to put together with the Capcom an inventory of all of the vehicles and equipment that we have and just get them on a schedule of everything under 8,500 pounds. And anything over that for a vehicle, heavy trucks, school buses, ambulances, all that kind of stuff, you don't have to worry about.
Right, and then did you also say, as long as you go through the process, even lighter vehicles, if you will, do not need to be like the example you gave of the DPW truck?
Right, if it cannot do the job, then it doesn't.
Yeah, that was one of my concerns, for instance, if you don't mind, I'll just say, one of my concerns with the vehicle policy was that we've learned with the use, the limited use that we got out of the Lightning truck, that winter months in particular are very difficult. So those cars have to be charged, and for instance, if we wanted to do this and make over our police fleet, our cruiser fleet, we really wouldn't be able to. You'd need twice as many vehicles as we currently have, because while one's charging, the other one could be used. So we have 6 cruisers and 8 or 9 vehicles total in the police department. You'd need to double that, and that would be really not something we can afford to do. Not to mention adding the infrastructure currently. We can do it a little bit over time, and as the technology changes and the battery life improves, but during the wintertime,
They don't expect you to have 2 police cars for every one that's there, because the capacity of the car can't keep up with the usage of it. So there are a lot of towns that have already gone and had approved policies, and so.
How many miles a day are they doing?
I don't know that offhand. I'll have to, I can get that for you, but it's.
I was asking, how many miles a day does a cruiser do? That's all.
The cruisers are pretty much in continuous use.
Yeah, they are.
It's a number of hours that the engines are being run, and it's all about winter time and heating it and all that kind of stuff.
I got the heat on.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter.
Yeah.
Or air conditioner on in the summer.
Yeah.
And all that draws battery life, so.
Yeah, okay.
So we can look at the policy, and is Capcom involved, Heather, just to identify the assets, or to show we have money in a 5-year plan?
Well,
just curious.
So we have the vehicles in the 5-year plan. We need to fill it out a little bit more for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we've already got an inventory of our fleet, and we have a standard cadence in replacing them. So we just need to put that more in writing so that the state can see it.
So we have a list of equipment, vehicles, things like that, when they're coming up to their end of life.
Yep.
Right. That and all of the boilers in town and all this stuff. So what happened at the high school last year, or middle school, where they lost their boiler? It was a crisis at the last minute. We have now we are in the process of putting together a complete inventory of all that stuff.
Okay. So that system that went in, they ended up going boilers there, gas boilers presumably, replacing kind.
They just replaced what they had because it was a crisis.
And then so kind of for the next time around, we'll have a plan in place or stay ahead of it by a few years, presumably, so it's not a crisis.
Exactly.
Then we can make this transition. Okay.
So, and on the stretch code, is that new construction only under the 4,000, or is it leasehold improvements?
It's new construction, or if there's a total renovation where they're stripping everything out of a house and doing a total rebuild, where the interior walls are coming down and all that, then that's up, but that's.
So the ask there is that it's wired, pre-wired.
Pre-wired.
And is that something that there'll be grants for homeowners, or do we kind of have a sense of the cost for a homeowner? Or is that a later discussion when we get to warrant discussions?
I mean,
Sure, that will come up during the warrant
it's the same sort of tax
Yeah.
rebate status. It's very gray right now, quite frankly, as far as the homeowner is concerned. There is some information out there. It's on what is the rough estimated cost of that. I was talking to Rich, so we could get that for you.
Okay.
How much additional cost, but it's really just running the wires from the from the box to where the
Is there any like thresholds? I mean, this is other stuff for kind of like the next time as well, but around, if you're increasing the volume of your home by certain percentages, does that kick in the specialized stretch code if you're making additions or alterations?
I think it would be.
Then you have to bring the whole house up to code, like from that point, right? Okay.
So, and just to say something, Dylan Patel from DOER will be speaking directly about this tomorrow night with the Wenham Select Board, which Emmett referred to, and he has a wonderful slideshow that does explain all this, and we could even send that slideshow to the Select Board members so that you could see this and see a bit more about it. The builder, of course, would have to pay the cost for the new construction. So, but my understanding from talking to Dylan is that it's compared to the cost of construction, it's minor. So, but nobody wants to put more money in, of course. But the idea of having homes that are already ready to be electrified means when the homeowner's ready, they can easily do this rather than having to upgrade their electrical system. You know, any homeowner with an older home, you know, you might have to put a new panel in or something like this, and that's going to detract people from electrifying. And the whole point, of course, is to decarbonize, get rid of fossil fuels, and to be, you know, a clean environment. And the larger picture is climate change, you know, and that's what we're all about here, trying to mitigate and slow down climate change. And so, by the way, I'm Jeannie Moran from 21 Garfield Avenue, the chair of the Hamilton Environmental Impact Committee. And we do meet every first Thursday of the month at 4 o'clock on Zoom, so we do welcome anyone to join us. And I did want to introduce a member of our community. This is Jack Whittier, who, as his whole career, has been in alternative energy. And I just thought we might introduce him because I don't know if you mind saying, he helped to build a city from scratch that was no fossil fuels. Do you mind speaking just a minute?
That's impressive.
I'll keep it very brief. I did have 50 years in the industry, and I recently retired, and been talking to Jeannie about joining the committee, so.
Right.
I appreciate
If I can help out the
your
town.
support here.
Yeah, I think, is the request that we put this on the warrant for April,
I think
not now, but it's like at a future meeting?
They wanted to come here to ask, right.
Yeah, okay. I think it would be useful for us as a town and a community to have, and, you know, we can all go back and watch, you know, the Wenham ones and whatnot, because they get posted as well, but to hear from this individual at DOER as well, we can come with prepared questions, maybe even send them in advance about the types of scenarios I think that are maybe a little more concerning than others. I can understand the concept of new construction, continuously improving, and a lot of new homes too. People are already opting for heat pumps because they get the air conditioning in the summer and then they get the heating in the winter, kind of all with one system. So people are kind of moving in that direction anyway, out of just improved creature comforts. But I think the renovation ones, where people might be looking to expand if their family is growing or they're, you know, having their elderly folks moving in with them. That's the type of stuff, you know, that I think would have more of an impact on this community and that we'd want to have more specifics on and allow other people to ask specific questions. And so we kind of get all those facts together if we're going to get prepared to put it on a warrant. So if that's an option for us to have that person come in,
Yeah, no,
it'd be
Bill
very
has
helpful.
already committed that he'll come, he's tied up. If you give me some dates, he's ready
Yeah,
to take off.
we'll look to a new business. When we get to that, we'll look to have him come in. And if we can get we can watch it, or if there's something you want to send us in advance to just learn more, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, it'd be great to be on the agenda and
Yep.
have him here and just
Okay.
talk.
Was Heather also looking at the kitchen equipment and things like that for the schools? Is it included cooking equipment, or is it just HVAC and vehicles? Sorry,
No, it's everything that uses carbon.
Okay.
So there's a lot. I
That's
mean,
all
that's
on-
a great
that'll-
Dylan type of question to ask, but
Uh-huh.
it covers a lot of areas.
Okay, thanks.
And do you know how many towns have this status in Massachusetts? Community cities?
Yeah, it's somewhere around 25. I did want to say, I just attended the Green Communities Summit, and that was in Worcester, and Vicki Mazzoni again presented as part of the conference our two town halls that have been electrified. And, you know, all of this great work that Vicki's been doing, and the Hamilton Wenham Climate Action Team and our group and the one in Wenham, you know, is putting Hamilton and Wenham on the map. And I just want to make sure that people know this, that we are out in front, but we're lagging a little bit now because these climate leaders are getting ahead of us. But, you know, because we started out with the green communities, and so we want to catch up to them. But we're making headway, and we appreciate all the support the select board can give us, and Mr. Demelowitz as well, who's been very helpful. And so we want to just keep going forward. And so the closest one to us, the closest to is Swamps. Ooh.
Salem and Swampscott.
Salem and Swampscott, yeah. So thank you very much for this, and we would love to get this on the warrant. And then we have to do an application, which would be in June of 2026. So if we have all of our ducks in a row, we can then apply at that point.
Okay, well, thank you for all your hard work and bringing us towards the goal that we have. And we'll definitely put it on new business to further explore, because as Ben said, I think we just want to understand the impact to folks and what the dollars out of their pockets are to comply with this, whether it's new construction, renovation, what are the triggers, and if we have Vicky come in as well as Mr., was it Patel?
Patel,
That'd be
yeah, that'd be great to have Vicky here, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we know that we have a lot of expenses in the town with the school system alone, and $2 million worth of off the tax rolls paid by grant funding is really why we think there's a level of urgency.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so do we want to keep going down, or do we want to go back up and clean up the front of the meeting?
It seems like you can clean up the front of the meeting and allow public comment, because we didn't get to that, and then the last
Okay.
couple items are just smaller housekeeping.
All right, so I'll just start with board and committee openings. We have Affordable Housing Trust, there's one opening. Conservation Commission, there are 2 openings. Community Preservation Committee has 1 opening for a member of Historic District Commission. Finance and Advisory Committee has 2 openings, and those are appointed through the moderator. The Historic District Commission has 2 openings for 3-year terms, 2 openings for 2-year terms. 1 must be a resident of the Historic District, and 1 must be a resident Realtor. The Human Rights Commission has 2 at-large openings. Any public comment at this point? We'll entertain public comment. General public comment.
Call-in user number 1 raised his hand.
All right, let's start online, and then, Sean, we'll get to you.
Sean Farrell, 50.
Hi,
I'm caller, I think I'm probably caller 1, Tosh Blake, Sagamore Street. Hello?
Yep. Yeah, got you, Tosh.
Oh, good, you can hear me, okay. Yeah, just a question. You're going to approve the November 3rd minutes, I believe, on your agenda. Is that correct?
The number, that's on the next item.
Right, okay, so I'll make my comment about that now. Just a correction, I did make a comment about 40 minutes in. It was in regard to, it was just sort of like an offhand comment relating to something someone else said. It was, the section in the meeting was after the Gordon Conwell Theological Seminary agenda item. And Mr. Mattern, he spoke at that, in the comments after that section, mentioned something about having a fund or money going to a fund that's going to be released from some activity. I forget specifically what it was. It's not clear from the minutes. But it says that it says Tosh Blake, and it says Asbury Street, Sagamore Street's the actual street, but it says Tosh Blake agreed with the money going into a fund. My comment actually was cautioning against it, in the sense that I didn't want money automatically going into a fund and just to have it be discussed and maybe, just dealt with normally in our budget and not put into a fund necessarily, just to have it as a sort of fait accompli, to put to something that may be controversial or something like that. So just to correct the minutes, I didn't agree with the money going to the fund. I was more giving a caution of money going into a fund. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm looking at that right now. I don't know if you followed that, or...
I understand what he said.
Yeah, it was...
I don't have it in front of me. But
Is it under Scott Mattern's comment?
The section...
Just tell me exactly where it is one more time so I can make sure.
Yeah, it was, okay, the November 3rd agenda minutes. It's under the section, Review Final Development Agreement with Gordon Conwell Theological Seminary and vote to authorize signing. It was public comments listed after that item. So Scott Mattern spoke first. And
got it. Okay, so when we get to that, we'll strike your comment about money going into a fund.
Yeah, I said you could write that I cautioned about the use of money going into a fund, like just to make sure it's not controversial or whatever. Or you can, you could go back to the video and see what I exactly said. But yeah, just to make that point, because I didn't disagree with it.
Tonight we
And also correct, it says Asbury Street, which in mine, Sagamore Street's the real address. Just a correction on that.
Yeah, okay.
And just to make a note, just a general comment about Rosie. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. And just to say, I think, hope Rosie gets better soon. I just read in the HW News, I was unaware she had the accident. Just put in, best wishes for Rosie. That's it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll strike that.
Well, just-
All right, sorry to cut you off there, Tosh.
No, I'm a Will.
Sean Farrell, 15 Hamilton Ave. I just wanted to kind of ask a request to the board. I know you guys are talking about signage and all kinds of things downtown sometime in the near future. When I was on the board, we worked on that too. I have a kind of a request/suggestion on Willow Street when you're coming from Linden Street across towards Asbury. When you get to Railroad Ave intersection, there's a stop sign there on both sides of the road. We all know that Railroad is a one-way. Over the 20-plus years I've lived here, I've seen a ton of people taking a right at that stop sign and going the wrong way on Railroad. I would request some type of a no right turn sign at that stop sign. It seems kind of the most common mistake of people who are not familiar with the area turning right on Railroad when it's a one-way going left there. That's it.
Got it.
Thanks, gents.
Thanks for that feedback. Anybody else online or in the room? Public comment? Okay, consent agenda is next. I think we're going to remove the minutes for this evening. I think you took some notes and we'll make some edits. You can follow up with me if you have any questions, Joe, but I think you got it as well. So we'll put that on the next meeting's agenda for approval. And that brings us back to the main event, the recap of the 5 boards meeting with the Hamilton Wenham Regional School District and Wenham. So I was not there. I don't have much to say, but any feedback, on the discussion, the dialogue, concerns, next steps, all of it.
Joe or Tom, are there any highlights?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call them highlights. As happens annually, the 2 towns and the school district kind of outlined some of the challenges and opportunities ahead in the coming year. Prior to the meeting, the school committee, the school administration had shared their first draft of a budget and what they're expecting the assessment impact to be for Hamilton. It's not good. It's going to be a much, much larger, some of this we knew because the district last year did put more money from excess and efficiency into the budget to keep the assessments low. And they don't have the amount of money in E&D this year to do the same thing again. So last year, more than $2 million from E&D was put into the school department budget, which had the effect of keeping the assessments to Hamilton and Wenham lower than they would have been otherwise. This year, there's only $700,000 from E&D going into the budget. What we did outline for the school committee was that if you just take the projected revenues for FY27 and take out the projected request that the school committee, or school administration rather, has outlined for the town of Hamilton's assessment, the town of Hamilton's operating budget would take a hit of $1.4 million. And that's before we do anything with looking at increases on our side of the ledger based on inflation and tariffs and all the other things that have caused us to go up, contract negotiations, et cetera. We also have another increase coming from our health insurance, projected to be between 16 and 22%. We also have to negotiate a new trash contract. Casella Waste Management's contract expires on June 30th of this year. The towns of Hamilton and Wenham have already begun talking to Casella, but that increase is going to be substantial. And so it will be difficult to avoid an override this year. But the point I did try to make at the board's meeting was that the town, if it approves the zoning at Browns Hill, stands to gain several $100,000 in new revenue. The town has already, not strictly for cost, but the town has already entered into an agreement to move the dispatch to Middleton, to the North Shore Regional 911, which will net a savings to the town in FY27. Those 2 moves alone mean that the town of Hamilton is within $100,000 of being able to balance our budget and handle our increases.
Before the insurance and trash.
Before the school.
We could handle, but not with the school. We could handle everything but the school. So if there's going to be an override this year, I've asked the school department to take the lead on it. It's a school override. Yeah. The town of Hamilton would not have to ask for an override to cover town services. We've already taken steps to try to address those.
Yeah.
So did you guys get into, you talked about a $2 million use of E&D last year, offset by 700, always dangerous to use one-time funds for ongoing expenses. aside from that, did they itemize anything like teacher's contract or maybe leasehold?
So the
improvements?
contracts have a big part of it. They also did note that because the school vote wasn't successful and that they heard during the forums that the neighbors or the residents wanted them to address school security concerns, they have a larger request for school maintenance, which includes designing safety zones in the three existing elementary schools and the middle school to make those schools safer than they currently are. But it's the first track.
Yeah, it's first.
Their first budget's
I'm
always
sure they're
much higher
gonna
than-
try to close the gap. But what was the percent year-over-year change with all of that said at their first draft?
I apologize, I don't remember the
Okay.
percent offhand.
And it's probably in the packet somewhere. Okay.
For Hamilton, it was less than 10%, Joe.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah.
Hey, Wendy.
Hey.
Okay.
She does that to me in the office, too. I just hear a voice from another room that, straightens me out.
And so, good, thank you. You covered the school piece, you covered the Hamilton piece. Anything around Wenham in isolation relative to challenges and issues they might have?
Their challenges are similar to ours, maybe a little bit more pronounced in some areas. The shift is going their way again this year, so they're, even before anything else get added, they got another 100, Wendy, what was it, another $100,000 added to their side of the assessment based on the shift in enrollment?
I believe that's correct.
So there's another $100,000 that just moved from Hamilton to Wenham. And yet, we're still going to have more than $1 million in new charges on Hamilton's side, so.
So early discussions, is there scheduled another meeting of any sort, or now
Yeah.
does each entity move on their own a little bit?
No, well, so the school committee then got their budget, then had their first budget presentation the following night, I think it was. And then there'll be a second 5 boards meeting as we all move through this process. So we'll continue to work on our budget. The town of Hamilton is going to have department head meetings with FinCom next Thursday, of the 11th. That'll be a mostly all-day affair for us. And then once we get through those, we'll be able to put together a more detailed budget, and we'll start to work on what will be presented to the select board and the FinCom at our meeting in, is it January 20th? Wendy, am I remembering that date right? The second meeting. in
Something like that, 21st maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So that's the operating budget, I assume capital committee, and you're working on that as well in parallel?
Capcom's working.
You're right, the 20th, Joe, sorry.
It was the 20th. So that meeting will be at the, that meeting, I think we've confirmed, will be able to be held at the community house just as it was last year.
Good update. Anything, Ben or Tom, you want to add from the meeting?
Nope, nothing to add to Joe's commentary.
Good.
All right, appreciate the update. It's going to be a challenging budgeting process.
It is.
All right, have I missed anything? I see new business discussions. I know we want to continue discussions from the climate leader status. I know that's going to be on a future meeting. Relative to the schools, the district agreement, I don't know if it's time for an update on that or where that stands. That might be a good
We
item.
can have one for you at the next meeting. We're having the 3 boards are finally getting back together, the representatives getting back together again tomorrow at 3:30. I believe Tom is now the negotiator for the town in that. So, Tom, 3:30 tomorrow at the school district?
Yep, be there.
So we'll have an update at the next meeting.
Any other topics from the board?
Want to circle back on Old Cart? We have any action items there? Need a discussion?
Yes, good. And we kick off budget season. Well, not kick it off, but you said you've got that meeting, so we'll stay.
They've met already with the department heads, like kind of draft, or?
So we've got the department head's manpower sheets in, basically telling us what the staff is. We've applied the contracted raises. We're working on revenue. We'll have a big piece to fill in depending on how the vote goes next Tuesday. If the vote goes forward well next Tuesday, we'll be able to estimate new revenue from the sale of the apartments, and what they'll be able to take in going forward.
Do we, is it beneficial to have anybody from the state come in and update on state funding or challenges, or?
I mean, it might be too early, but I can ask Senator Tarr or Rep. Kasner to come in, but House 1 hasn't been released yet. It doesn't
Yeah.
usually get released until, usually actually the second half of January. So typically, the state's budget process starts with the release of what's known as the House 1 budget, and that's really the budget proposal from the governor's office. The administration releases their budget usually right around the time of the Mass Municipal Association Annual Conference and Trade Show, which this year is scheduled for, let me look at it, hold on. It's scheduled for January 22nd and 23rd and 24th, so.
Too early, but I'm just
we're a little
concerned
early.
of any pressure coming from the state for this district and us, so we'll just keep our eye on that towards the end of January, I guess.
Yep.
All right, it's pretty,
I saw in the paper that there was, with 3A being accepted as well, there are some additional grant opportunities for.
Well, we didn't get locked out of any grants, at least, so.
We'll be pursuing those presumably though, for any improvements in that district. Okay.
and then I assume everything, no updates on town hall or move-in, it's all pretty much on path from what we've discussed
Yeah,
historically.
I mean, there's, weather's starting to get into it a little bit, but, people who drive by can see a lot of progress has been made. The elevator addition is mostly up. I think they still need to put the roof on. Stairs are going up inside. The elevator will be added, and then the roof will be put on. The new roof is on the original building. The siding is mostly been fixed. There's still some parts to be done there. The new ramp has been poured. Interior-wise, most of the major stuff has changed, has been completed. We just need to hook up the new HVAC systems and the ground.
They haven't drilled yet, have they?
They've drilled the wells. We have to connect the wells to the building now. They'll be trenching that and working on that here in the next couple weeks. And so it's making good progress. The general contractor still is citing a mid-February completion. Substantial completion. We won't be able to finish the landscaping and striping of the parking lot, et cetera, until probably the spring. That's why we're targeting a late April, early May move-in for staff. When the weather gets good.
Staff ready to go back, or they're happy
Yeah, I think
where they're at?
there's a mix. I think some people like it out there. I mean, it is a nice setting, and esprit de corps has really kind of come up a little in the building. I think anybody who's ever been in the military knows that when you go through something hard with other people, it makes you closer. And I think we've had some of that out at the homestead.
Headquarters.
People like it out there. It's a little different environment. It's not really set up to be an office. It's getting the job done, but yeah, it's very homey.
I was there a couple weeks ago around sunset, and it was pretty amazing out the back.
Yeah, it's
So
a nice
anyway, that's
environment, but-
good updates on that. Lastly, I always enjoy when department heads, I don't know if we're in cycle or anybody, coming up, but that could be something on a future meeting as well, just updates from a department head.
Yep. And we had talked a little bit about wanting to do more like we did tonight. So for those who joined the meeting late, we had a really nice presentation, joint presentation from the HDC and the Select Board earlier to the Connolly family for all their years of service to the community. They stuck it out through the end of the meeting.
I know, I was gonna,
I didn't really expect that. I appreciate it. It's good to see them here, and it was really good to see the outpouring of support for them. The room was full, and I thought it was because I had said or done something wrong again, but it turns out everybody was here for the Connollys.
Yeah.
That's better.
Absolutely. On that positive note, I'll take a motion.
Adjourn.
Yes.
Well, motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? Thomas?
Second.
Bill Wilson? Oh, let's vote. Sorry, roll call.
Ben Gluza, aye. Sorry.
Bill Wilson, aye.
Tom Myers, aye.
All right, that's a wrap. We have some things to sign.
Thanks.
Not a lot this time.